Hello everyone, Fanta here, you're watching FANTAVISION, and today I'm discussing E3 2021 because it just ended, and I feel like a lot of people have quite mixed opinions on the entire show in general, because it seems like only two companies bothered to show up and do anything: Nintendo and Microsoft. That's it. That's all that, Devolver Digital did their thing. I'm kind of over the whole storyline thing, but they did their thing. There were some cool games in there. But everybody else, all the big companies, what are you doing? Why did you even bother with a presentation if you weren't going to bother to show anything that was that interesting? If you look at any poll out there, who won E3? Capcom, Square Enix, Warner Brothers, Take-Two? They're not even going to be close to Nintendo and Microsoft. So we're not going to talk about those. I do want to talk about some of the highlights of Nintendo, some of the highlights of Microsoft, and who I think overall won E3, which I feel like is going to piss off people no matter what I pick, because I've been called a fanboy of PlayStation, Microsoft, and Nintendo. I guess it would be Sony, wouldn't it? Not PlayStation, whatever. But I've been called a fanboy of every system, despite the fact that I own all of them, and I don't work for any of those companies, so I don't care. I feel like nobody should be a fanboy of any company because, again, unless you work for the company, why would you just excuse all of their faults and just be okay with what they're doing? I don't understand it. Anyway, rant over, let's dive in. So let's start with Nintendo just because they were the last. So we'll start with the last presentation first, and then we'll go with Microsoft. So Nintendo showed very little of Breath of the Wild 2, which we still don't have a name for yet because they said that would give too much away. Not quite sure what that means because we're gonna have the title at some point. So do they mean story spoilers or do they just mean spoilers of... what do they mean? I don't know. It's very confusing. And I was a bit upset that they showed such little gameplay. It was like a minute. I think if you cut out all of the long scenery pauses, it's like a minute of actual gameplay, and it was really nothing that new. Like, we saw them hitting objects, we saw like this teleportation thing that was pretty cool, and that's about it. So the graphics we're seeing look about the same as Breath of the Wild. Combat looks the same as Breath of the Wild, and I'm really hoping they don't bring back that weapons break when you look at them mechanic, because I know, again, that's another hot topic issue with that game. A lot of people are like, oh, but weapon durability is part of the game. I don't care. I thought it was terrible. So I'm hoping that that doesn't carry over, but it probably will. It seems like a lot of things are going to carry over. But I'm hoping there's a lot new because it has been quite a long time since Breath of the Wild came out. And I'm hoping that because they're making it for the Switch and not the Switch and the Wii U, they'll put as much power into it as possible. We won't get as many frame dips and stuff like that. So hopefully that game's amazing, but again, we only saw like a minute. Metroid Dread was something that they just announced, and it's coming out in October. People are hyped about it. I wish I was hyped about it. I'm really not. I know, again, that's going to piss off a lot of people, but there you go. That's just my opinion. It's another side-scrolling Metroidvania game. There are so many out there, and I'm not a huge Metroid fan to begin with, so I'm happy for all the Metroid fans out there getting another one of these 2D Metroid games, but yeah, that wasn't the earth-shattering announcement I thought that was going to be made during E3. I was hoping to see some of the new Metroid 4 game. That'd be cool, because I do like those games a lot. Again, I haven't beaten them, but I've played them and I quite enjoyed them, but yeah, no new information on that, at all, just saying they're still working on it. There was no new information on Splatoon. There were no new things for the Zelda anniversary except for a Game & Watch system that nobody asked for. It's just a novelty collectible thing that is just such a niche target audience. I don't understand why they couldn't have done something simple as bringing the Wii U ports over to the Switch. They would have made a ton of money and made a lot of people very happy. Overall, it just feels like the absence of things kind of weighed down the rest of the Nintendo Direct for me. I'm glad that Advance Wars is coming back. That's great. But it's just the remakes of the first two games. I've played those already. They still play great on the Game Boy. And again, I'm happy it's coming back to the Switch. I hope they come out with a sequel to the games, but I just don't understand why they didn't do more for Zelda, and I don't understand why there's not another Mario Kart game. It's been like 7 years. 7 years since the last Mario Kart game. Deluxe is not a new game. That does not count. That cannot be the Switch's Mario Kart. That would be ridiculous. So I'm hoping that they're going to be coming out with a new Mario Kart at some point. And you know what? I wasn't even expecting the Switch Pro. And all these people, whenever I tell them, I was really disappointed with the Nintendo Direct, they're like, well, you just came in with too high of expectations. It's like, no. I mean, is it really that much to ask for a new Mario Kart when it's been 7 years? They used to release it every 3 years. There was like a steady chunk of time where like 3 games in a row, 3 years, 3 years, 3 years, and that was fine. And now it's been 7. That's ridiculous. I don't know. That's a long, long time. I'm happy they're coming out with a new WarioWare game. It does look a little bit weird with the fact that you use the characters in the game instead of just doing the mini game, and that's kind of themed around the character. I don't know. It's strange, but I'll give it a chance. I'll give it a shot. It just looks strange right now. But again, I love WarioWare, so I'm happy to see a new title. They also announced another remake, basically, which is the Mario Party All-Stars, or Superstars, I should say. And it's 100 of the best mini-games, according to them, as well as old boards from the Nintendo 64 that are remastered into HD, which is great. But, I mean, it just shows how bad Mario Party has become that they don't even bother making a sequel, because whenever they come out with a new Mario Party, ever since 8 came out, like 8 was the last good Mario Party game, and then everything after that is just a dumpster fire. Even the Switch one, which was getting closer to where we wanted it, still a boring mess, not a good game. A lot of great mini games in it, but the boards overall were just so bland. And like, I'm glad they're bringing back the N64 boards, don't get me wrong, that's great, but why not bring back all of the N64 boards? Wouldn't that be pretty cool? Because I feel like there's a lot of people that missed all of those boards back on those old games. Hell, you could do like I said, All-Stars, I accidentally said, do a Mario Party All-Stars thing. Bring back a ton of the favorite boards from all of the past games that we actually enjoyed, nothing past 8, and I feel like that would have been a huge hit, but there you go. I'm pretty excited for it because it's got online play, you can save in the middle of a game, it has all those different features that should have been in the Switch one to begin with, and it took like a year or two to get those features, but I'm glad it's there at launch, and at least they're kind of listening. I'm just hoping that they're hearing people like me saying, hey, put a bunch of boards in it, Take a bunch of the old ones if you're going to remake it. And then Mario plus Rabbids got another trailer. I know Ubisoft had their trailer and their presentation, but their presentation was terrible, so nobody cares. So the ones that actually did watch this presentation, the people that watched this one, saw Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope, which, I'm sure it'll be a fun XCOM-like game, and I'll pick it up when it's $20 because it's an Ubisoft game. They also showed off a new Fatal Frame game for the Switch. Again, not a huge fan, as well as Shin Megami Tensei 5. There is a big audience for both those games, and I'm really happy for those people, but for me, I'll give Fatal Frame a shot, maybe. Spooky version of Pokemon Snap. Spooky Snap, if you will. I don't know, it never seemed like a series that really interested me, and the Shin Megami Tensei games, I don't know, they're just too long. I don't have the time for them, but I've heard they're pretty good. And that was about it when it came to the Nintendo Direct. I mean, they showed off some other stuff, but we'd seen it before. There was nothing really groundbreaking besides the 1 minute of Breath of the Wild and Metroid Dread for a lot of people. But for me, I don't know. There was really nothing that stood out that was amazing to me, but if I'm going to objectively look at it, it's a solid B. If I were to give it a letter grade. But for me, I'd give it like a C, just because there was nothing really that blew me away. So for objectively, if you're looking at it from like a fan's perspective, and you like all of these different games they showed off, that's great. It's a B. They did show off a bit of content. But speaking of amount of content, I mean, Microsoft, I have been shitting on Microsoft for quite a while now, and when the Series X came out, I called it pointless. I said, why would anybody get this when all of these games are going to be on the PC? They don't have any exclusives. Why would you get an Xbox? Well, turns out you can't buy a graphics card. You can't build a PC that's anywhere close to the power of a Series X for $500 these days, unless you really dig deep into used parts and find some crazy deals on eBay. But beyond that, getting a $500 computer to do ray tracing, 60 frames per second with 1440p, all these different things, good luck. Now I see the appeal of a Series X, and also we're seeing exclusives with Starfield, which was announced as an exclusive for the PC and Xbox. And we got a trailer that didn't really show anything. We already knew the game was in space, and we saw somebody in space. No gameplay there. Whatever, there's a lot of different questions and answers that were given later on, but there was nothing really shown off during the show. And that's what we're grading right now. It's like when people are like, oh, but this was in the book. I don't care. We're not grading the book. We're grading the presentation. And another thing that I've been dogging on Microsoft about is Halo Infinite. We've all, I feel like most of us at least, have been worried about Halo Infinite. When they first showed it before, not so good. Graphics did not look that good. The gameplay looked and there was Monkey Man. But now, the multiplayer looks phenomenal, the graphics look so much better, the gameplay looks really smooth, solid, and I'm getting a little excited for it. Plus, the multiplayer is going to be free to play anyway for people that aren't even on Game Pass, so that's awesome. And they announced later on, I know this wasn't part of the presentation, but it is interesting that the Battle Pass, when you buy it, is permanent. That's weird. I like it. That's how it should be. But it's a strange decision. It'll be interesting to see if they include the ability to earn that premium currency in their Battle Pass that you get permanently to buy the next Battle Pass. Like Fortnite, if you get far enough, you can pay for the next Battle Pass without having to actually spend any of your money because you just earned it through doing the Battle Pass. Lots of Battle Passes do that. It'd be great to see them do that. But it would also be interesting to see how they'd make money if you buy one Battle Pass and you have it permanently, and you get enough money in that Battle Pass to get the next one for free. I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see how they monetize that. And I'm a little bit worried, but the way they've been doing the Battle Pass system in the Master Chief Collection, which I feel like is kind of a test market for the permanent Battle Passes, because it does the same thing, but they're free. I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see what happens. And, I'm actually looking forward to the game now, so that's pretty cool. Forza Horizon is one of my favorite series of all time. It's my favorite racing series by far because it's just one of those games where you can just kind of go zen mode and just drive around and relax. And Horizon 5 looks amazing. I mean, the graphics they showed off look phenomenal. The gameplay looks like a ton of fun. There's new multiplayer modes. There's new things you can do in the game. Overall, just super hyped for this game, and the fact that it's like in my own backyard, it's in Mexico, so a lot of Mexico's landscape is the same as Arizona. I'm happy about that. That's awesome. I'm just racing around outside. I'm seeing the scenery. It's just going to be really surreal playing in the same landscape that I live in a video game. So I'm really looking forward to that. And it looks like it's just going to be a ton of fun. Another new game they showed off was Redfall, which was like a Left 4 Dead, but with vampires. But again, no gameplay, unfortunately, just a cinematic trailer, which sucks, but at least we see what the concept is, and the concept seems interesting, so they've piqued my interest. Stalker 2 was finally shown off, as far as I can tell. I haven't seen anything else about it, and the graphics look amazing. The gameplay looks like a lot of fun. I like the enemies. I like what the story seems like it's going to be. It seems very serious, very dark. I'm really looking forward to it. It looks awesome. Another new game, Outer Worlds 2. I didn't see a sequel coming. I guess I should have, but Outer Worlds 2, I'm just happy it was announced. Of course, their announcement trailer was nothing. It was basically just a title announcement because everything they showed off in the trailer was parody. They were making fun of gaming tropes. They were making fun of all the different things that they do in trailers, and literally nothing in that trailer is going to be in the real game. Maybe they'll change their minds and put some of that stuff in the real game, but they specifically said in the trailer itself, here's a monster that's not even going to be in the game. And it was a joke. But I was fine with it, okay? If you're going to do a title trailer like that, and it's just going to show the title of the game, at least make it interesting, and they did that. Psychonauts 2 got a release date and a new trailer. The game is looking better and better every day. I've never played a game in that series, so I'm looking forward to trying it out. I don't know if I need to play the first one before this, but if I do, I mean, it's on Game Pass, so I might as well just try out the first one. And yeah, I mean, it went from like, that looks like too weird to me, to, okay, now I'm intrigued. This looks really interesting. Atomic Heart was another game that was announced. Again, as far as I know, I've never heard of this game before, and it looks really cool. I mean, it's got these Half-Life-esque vibes to it, and there's also bullet time / slow motion / all these different powers it looks like you're going to have, and there's these weird alien creatures and robots, and it looks funky, and it's like in a Soviet type theme. I don't know what's going on in this game, but I'm definitely intrigued. A couple of the sequels that were announced were Slime Rancher 2, Plague Tale Requiem, and then Age of Empires 4 got a release date. Back 4 Blood was announced to be on Game Pass day 1, so that's amazing. And every single other game that I've talked about from the Microsoft presentation so far, they're all going to be on Game Pass. Every single game that I just talked about is going to be on Game Pass day 1. I know it sounds like I'm a commercial right now, but that just blew my mind. As a person with Game Pass and who will continue to get it just because it's saving me a ton of money. I mean, if you think about it, each one of these games is $60. I mean, at least most of them are going to be $60. I don't think Hades Hades is coming to Game Pass as well, and the Xbox and PlayStation, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's coming to Game Pass. And yeah, I don't think Hades or Slime Rancher would have been $60, but everything else on this list is a $60 title, and you just get it with Game Pass. So that's just amazing. There's so many games that are coming to Game Pass, and it really is the best deal in gaming right now. But, I mean, it worries me. It seems like Movie Pass, which is scary because Game Pass and Movie Pass, they're too similar. But Movie Pass was too good to be true, and it was, where you had unlimited movies with this really cheap membership, and I used the hell out of that thing. And this is, what, $15, $20 a month? And you can play like hundreds of games, and they're including brand new titles coming out that are owned by Microsoft Studio. I mean, it's just absurd the value you get here, which makes me think that over time they're going to keep increasing that price, or they're going to do something shady. But for now, Game Pass is the best deal in gaming, and the fact that basically everything that they showed during the conference was just going to be included in that, that's what made Microsoft win for me. They found out what they wanted to focus on, and they really focused in on it. They want you to get Game Pass, and if I didn't have Game Pass already, this would have sold me to get Game Pass. The number of people that said, I can't get my hands on a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox Series X is still hard to get, but I think I'm just going to try to get a Series X. So many people are saying they want a Series X now over a PlayStation. And that really harkens back to the theme of E3. Nintendo and all the other companies that presented, it felt like they were missing something. There was so much other potential there that they didn't follow through with. And the fact that PlayStation wasn't there, you really felt that absence. You really do. Because Microsoft was there, Sony wasn't. I am now thinking about Microsoft. Microsoft is in the top of everybody's minds right now. And PlayStation is just slowly fading away in relevance to our brains that are super ADD, super, you lose attention on things like that because of all these different things that have been programmed to just make our brains want instant satisfaction, instant dopamine. I'm going to watch a 30-second video. I'm going to look at a tweet, which is this tiny little thing. There's all these things that have trained us to only focus on what is in front of us. And Microsoft was in front of us. Nintendo was in front of us. But if we're talking about competitors here, Microsoft and PlayStation, Microsoft is now in the forefront of all of our minds. And people are sitting here wondering what's coming out in the PlayStation 5. Because they have not really announced a whole lot coming to the PlayStation 5 that is going to be exclusive to the PlayStation 5. So it'll be very interesting to see how Sony can combat Microsoft's E3 presentation because I give it a solid A. You know, it wasn't the most mind-blowing thing in the world, but it's not like an A plus S tier thing, but it is a solid A. A lot of great titles are coming out, and they're all going to be on Game Pass. That's just phenomenal. So if you're already in the Xbox ecosystem, you're just going to be getting a steady drip feed of new stuff included in your subscription. That's insane. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on E3 2021. I really hope that at some point Sony rejoins the fold of E3 because their PlayStation Directs, at least to me, have kind of sucked when they do it outside of E3. And I don't know, competition is always a good thing. So it's nice to see them all just battling it out, putting their best stuff forward, and trying to win our minds and wallets. So we'll see how it plays out next year. And overall, I think Microsoft did a hell of a job this year when most of the time I'm like, what are you guys really showing me here? Usually Microsoft is not top tier when it comes to presentations, but this time they knew they had a lot to prove. They knew that the PlayStation 5 was like the number one like console that people were seeking out right now. And they wanted to solidify the fact that, hey, there's a reason to get our system. There's a reason to be a part of our ecosystem. Look at Game Pass, seriously. Look at what we're doing over here. And I think they have the attention of a lot of people after this. Let me know what you guys thought about E3 in the comments down below. If you said Nintendo won, I get it. I get where you're coming from. You like a lot of those games. You already have a Nintendo Switch. Maybe you don't have an Xbox. Or you're just not interested in what Xbox showed off. Whereas, I don't know, I just have a huge... I like almost every type of game. So the fact that there was just a huge variety showed off at Xbox, it kind of wowed me. And the fact that it was all included in an ecosystem I'm already in just really sealed the deal and made it just really hard to beat. Like the video if you guys liked it, subscribe for more content, and as always, have a fantastic day. See you, everybody.